What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Real Word podcast, a place where real thoughts, real ideas, and real words come to life. I'm your host, Drew, coming from San Diego, California. Thank you for stopping by, tuning in, checking out the channel. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and hit up all those links down below if you want to help out the channel. Send me an email as well. You can do that. And now we can get into the episode. It is August 12th, 2020. It's Wednesday. It is about 7 in the morning. I got a real late start this morning. Got caught up doing some note-taking this morning, going over a bunch of stuff. So we have quite a bit to kind of get into. But first, let me kind of recap a little bit of yesterday. Did my Tuesday morning tokes thing, and wasn't really sure if we were going to be doing a No World Order IG Live, and you can go check that out. We ended up doing one. Go check it out at _No World Order podcast on Instagram. You can check out the IGTV. You can check us out when we go live, usually Tuesdays around 2:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and then the following day. So today, the audio from that podcast will be from that Instagram live will be uploaded to YouTube here. So go check out that. We get into, right before we got on, like an hour or two before, Joe Biden named Kamala Harris as his vice president candidate or whatever. So we just briefly touched on that. And then, we talked about some, a study that was going on in the UK, how they want to add lithium in the water, kind of like how we have fluoride in the water right now already. They're trying to add more lithium, or add lithium to the, tap water. And they're trying to pass it under the guise of, public health safety, especially during the COVID-19 times, and trying to prevent suicides and all of that, which, the intentions are good. I understand that, but you can't force people to be taking a drug. I mean, I guess they can, because they do. They put fluoride in the water and stuff, and we just drink it and pay no attention to it. So, go back and listen to that. We go through all of they don't even know what lithium does. They don't know how it works, but then they know that there's a ton of side effects and stuff. So I just find it really interesting that we came across that study. Zach sent it my way, and I was just like, what the heck, man? And then I was just doing a little more reading on it, and I was like, they're just trying to pass this through during this time right now, which to me is just crazy, but kind of makes sense. Just kind of hit them while they're not paying attention, just hit them with it while they're not paying attention. So that's kind of what was going on there. We go into it a little bit more in depth in the episode, so please go check that out. It already has quite a few views. It was just we just did it yesterday, and it's already at like close to 40 views or something on Instagram. So maybe we did something right with the marketing and getting the hashtags right or something. I don't know. Maybe enough people saw it when we happened to post it. I don't know what it was, but this one, like, boom, within the first 7-8 hours, just got like 30-40 views, something like that. So I don't know what counts as a view on Instagram Live or Instagram TV. Like, I don't know if it's just stopping by real quick and that counts as a view, or if you have to stay for an extended period of time and then it counts as a view. I don't know, but I'll take, the 40-something views. That's, cool with me. It's a start for sure. And then, so we got into a bunch of Disney. Well, it kind of started with the Trolls doll. You can go check out our thoughts on that. I had no idea about it. I've been hearing some about like, oh, Trolls doll, like little rumblings. Like, I don't know where I've been hearing it, but I've been hearing something about Trolls doll. And then all of a sudden, Zach sent me the story or whatever. And, we go into it in depth a little bit in the episode yesterday. So go check it out. But, within that same topic, we then kind of not uncovered because it's all been done before, but we started going down the list of all the subliminal stuff that Disney and Pixar and, all of these, movies aimed towards kids have put subliminal messages in. So we were just kind of, going over a list of all of those subliminal messages in like The Lion King, The Little Mermaid, Rescuers, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. We didn't get to this one yesterday, but Lilo and Stitch. There's just a ton. There's a ton of these examples. And, like I said, we even missed some. So it's just crazy, like how they're doing this and how Disney just kind of has an excuse for it at every occasion. It doesn't matter how many times they've been accused of doing these types of things or having these subliminal messages or whatever. And they just completely like discount and be like, oh, it wasn't intended that way. Or no, that's not what it was. It's actually this. And you know what I mean? So it was really interesting to kind of see the whole list of all of those movies that have been accused of having these subliminal messages, and not even accused. It's like facts, like it's right there in your face, and then they go back later and adjust it and remove the images and things like that. But people have originals and can have brought attention to this stuff, so it's really interesting. But yeah, please go check out at @_No World Order podcast on Instagram. Go give that a follow. Zach is mainly the one interacting on that page. I've been jumping in on some comments here and there. But yeah, I'll do the lives. I'll go live from that account when we do the Instagram lives on Tuesday. And Zach normally goes from his personal page because he has more reach on his personal page than I have on my personal page. So I think it makes more sense to do it that way. And yeah, man, I was, it was a surprise. He just showed up yesterday. I wasn't expecting him to show up. After I got done with my episode, he did say he was good to do an episode, but I thought we were just going to do it like the regular Instagram live, how he just does it at his house, and I do it here. But next thing you know, I was like taking some notes and getting ready and preparing. Then all of a sudden I get a text. He's like, oh, I'm outside at your garage. I was like, oh, wow, I had no idea. I was like, you can come in real quick or whatever. And so he came in. I finished up my notes real quick, and then we did the episode. So it was cool, man. It was a nice little surprise. And I feel it's always better when we kind of have the conversations in person versus over Instagram like that. But that's just me. That's just my opinion and how I feel. But, whenever we can get together more, in person, that's that's when we're vibing. That's when we're flowing good for sure. In my opinion, anyway. But, let's get into this snap, man. It's almost 10 minutes in and we haven't even had a little smoke yet. What is going on? I try and wait past that 5 minutes to see if it, eventually when I get monetized and all of that, I hear that the first 5 minutes you can't say certain things or whatever, but after that, it's all good. It's all fair game and stuff. Like they're not really searching past that. I don't know. I could be wrong, but that's why I try and hold off 5 minutes or so before smoking or anything like that, just for future references, just to protect myself in the future. Let's get into this snap. This is some Tropicana Punch from Farmer and the Felon. Got the glass clean water, got my coffee here. We got a lot to talk about, so let's get into this. Cheers. Alrighty then. So this is just something quick, real quick, before we get into the bulk of the stuff. Steven Crowder is back. I was wondering where he was for the last handful of weeks, 2-3 weeks, something like that. He was on vacation. Him and the whole staff and everything were just taking a little couple weeks off or whatever, some time off. All good. I just wasn't aware of it. It seems like a lot of other people weren't aware of it too, because I'd go like, where are you at? You stopped streaming? You streaming somewhere else now? What's going on? Where are you at? I thought he got like demonetized or something, like shut down from the platforms or suspended or something. But then he came back, addressed it, said he was taking a little couple week vacation break. He had a lot of personal stuff going on as well at the same time, so it's good to see him back doing his thing. And you know, of course, when he came back, he dropped the new Change My Mind segment, and he was, I think he went to Austin, Texas, set up shop there, basically saying Black Lives Matter organization, not just saying Black Lives Matter, but the organization is a domestic terrorist organization, and he said, change my mind. And he dropped part 1 of the whole series, video series or whatever, yesterday. I think more parts will be coming in the following week or so. And yeah, man, he lays out some great points, and the people who had the conversation with him, I believe it was only the 2 of them in this particular video, I feel had pretty productive conversations. They brought up some good points. He brought up good points, and I feel like they were good conversations. I mean, that's why I enjoy, you know, especially those Change My Mind segments, is because, you know, it gets people talking and conversation, hopefully in a non-escalated way. That's, you know, usually the plan. Sometimes it gets a little heated on usually the person arguing against Steven Crowder. They get usually heated. Not all the time, but when it happens, that's usually the side that is getting angry or heated or mad or whatever. But yeah, it's just I like that format, because Crowder has his facts, has his stats, has, you know, he's armed and ready with information. And these people think they're ready and, you know, have the information, and they sit down with him, someone who's actually really well prepared, and you know, usually just get eaten alive. But like I said, this last one was, you know, pretty good. Like I said, both of the people in the video who were going against Crowder raised a couple of good points with it, you know? But I do stand with Crowder where he says the Black Lives Matter organization, as the organization, and their list of demands and everything, they would qualify, in my opinion, as a domestic terrorist organization. Just with all of the damage that's being caused in the name of the Black Lives Matter protests, riots, all of that. You know, it's just it's been nonstop. You know, it just hasn't been stopping, and especially in some of these major cities. You know, that's where we're seeing it the most, in these major Democratic-run cities, and yeah, it's I don't know. I don't know what you do. I really don't. Like, I know one of my buddies, Isaiah, is like, man, Trump needs to come in, step in, and stop all this. He could do he can make these changes and all of that. And I was texting with him the other day or whatever, and I was like, yeah, but if he does this, then that would give people more ammo to be like, oh, look, he's a dictator. He's just coming in and making all these rules, forcing people to do everything. It's like, I don't want that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want a dictator. Like, I don't want someone in just controlling everything. So it's like, that's why we have states. That's why we have states' rights. And, that's why that is kind of in play. And all of these states can ask for federal help or whatever, from my understanding. And, if he's denying these places access, if Trump is denying these states access to federal funding, then that's fucked up. You know what I mean? Like, that's not cool. But if these states aren't even asking for federal help, then there's nothing he can do. It's like, you're not just gonna. So it's like, okay, if you're destroying federal property, I understand. Like, then you kind of have to step in because it's dealing with federal issues. But if it's just in state stuff and, like, you're dealing with state parks and state run stuff, it's like, that's on the states, man. And if you don't like it, get out. That's kind of where I stand. And it's like, I don't like how California is run, but it's like, I try not to let that affect me. You know what I mean? So I just try and live my life. I try and do just what I want to do. And, the laws in place make it difficult for certain people to operate. Like, you know what I mean? And with all the permits and licenses and all this stuff, and they make it difficult. And that's anywhere. But I think here in California, we're definitely more strict when it comes to those types of things. Yeah. So, like I said yesterday, kind of before Zach came by, Joe Biden had announced Kamala Harris as his vice president candidate, nominee, whatever. Like, I don't know I don't know what they call it. Candidate, vice president candidate, nominee. I don't know. But she's gonna be running for vice president with Joe Biden. And she made history, I guess, for being the first Black Asian American woman to be appointed a vice president candidacy or something like that. I think that's what the history was. So that's cool. That's pretty awesome. And again, like, if a woman who is a Black Asian woman in office, who's held high positions, how are we saying this country is racist, man? You know what I mean? Like, she's been in control of people. She's, like, run laws and stuff, So it's like, and she's at a top level, high level now. And, how can they say this country is so racist when they're giving her an opportunity to have this platform and stuff? I don't get it. You've seen a lot of support come out, from the Black community, and I just think it's very hypocritical. I think it's ridiculous, but there just seems to be this blanket support for, Black Democratic people, man. It's like, it doesn't matter what they stand for, what they've done in their past, and it's just like, oh, they're Black and they're Democrat, cool. Like, yeah, go them. And to me, that's not cool. Like, we need to focus on people who are best qualified for the job. I don't know much about Kamala Harris. I was, doing a lot of reading this morning. That's kind of what took me a little bit longer. I was just trying to do a little background and stuff because I know people have called her, like, top cop, and I was just trying to see where she kind of stood on certain things. I know Joe Biden has had a history with Robert Byrd. I'll get to that in a little bit, but yeah, it's just the crossover between racism and what she's done to destroy the black community, and then what Joe Biden has done to destroy the community. It's like, I don't understand the hypocrisy. Then the black community just eats it up, man, and just is like, yeah, we'll vote for it. It's like, okay, you guys are gonna continue seeing the problem then. It's like, I don't understand. It's like, let's take a look at some of this stuff. These are some of the things that she's done to kind of like, quote unquote, destroy or hinder the black community. Um she was declining to advocate for legalization of marijuana in California. She didn't support body cameras for the police while simultaneously opposing legislation that would require her office to independently investigate police shootings. She even defended the three-strike law, in which black people are incarcerated at a rate 12 times higher than whites. And she's in support of the death penalty. I don't know if any of those, things have changed, but that's kind of where she has her founding. That's kind of what she believes in or had believed in the past. And I don't think this was from that long ago. She once said, let's read this. She once said, quote, "The idea that we incarcerate people to have indentured servitude is one of the worst possible perceptions. I feel very strongly about that, and it invokes images of chain gangs. Despite making the connection between prison labor and chain gangs, she, quote, pushed back against a federal order to expand an early parole program, arguing that it would deplete their stock of prisoner labor, especially inmates who fight wildfires." Oh, man. So she, in one hand, she's saying, oh, yeah, prison is, basically slavery and indentured servitude, and that's not okay. But then she's saying she pushed back against a federal order to expand an early parole program, and in arguing that it would get rid of their prison labor. So the same thing that she was just saying she was against the indentured servitude, she's like, no, we need them to fight the wildfires. Oh, man. Like, do you guys listen out there? Do you guys follow? Like, I just don't understand it. It like baffles my mind. It drives me crazy. And this is from 11 years ago. In 2009, in her book, Smart on Crime, she wrote, quote, "If we take a show of hands of those who would like to see more police officers on the street, mine would shoot up." She added, quote, "Virtually all law-abiding citizens feel safer when they see officers walking a beat." That's just crazy, because, I mean, me personally, I never feel more comfortable when I see cops, man. Like, and me being more on the white-looking side of things, you know what I mean? I still don't feel comfortable with police, and cops. Like, that's why that whole culture needs to change. Like, it needs to be a community thing, like, where sheriffs and police officers are involved with the community, whether it's like little fun, like not fundraisers, just like little events, community events. Just get to know these people, you know what I mean? And so that way, if you see them on the street, you're not inclined to get nervous. And then if they pull you over, they're more inclined to know who you are and not have this fear or whatever, you know what I mean? So yeah, I personally don't feel safer when I see more cops walking around. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, even if I'm not doing anything, I'm like, oh, let's straighten up, let's be good. If I'm driving, if I'm straight, haven't even smoked that day, anything, I'm following the speed limit, I see a cop behind me, I'm like, oh, boom, 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 boom. Like, let's not do anything. Like, even if I'm just listening to music, I'm like, turn the music down. It's crazy, man, like how they can make you feel. But I've had my run-ins with the cops, you know what I mean? Nothing has ever happened, but I've been put in cuffs a handful of times. It's not a fun feeling. I've never been arrested or anything like that, but dealing with cops and police is not a fun feeling for any race. You know what I mean? Like, and for her to say that just seems like, I don't know. But then, her stance seemed to change when all of this civil unrest started to happen across the country and stuff like that. And she said to the New York Times that, quote, "It is status quo thinking to believe that putting more police on the streets creates more safety. That's wrong. It's just wrong." Oh, wow. Wow, wow, wow. So, yeah, I know the first quote where she said, she would like to see more police officers on the street was from 2009. So, I know that's a little bit older. But it just shows the flip-flop, man. And it's like, I understand people could change their minds and have change of hearts and see different data and, make changes. I understand that. I'm one of those people. My mind isn't the same as it was a handful of years ago. It's constant learning. It's constant growing. Like, that's what it is. But that's just crazy. To be like, oh yeah, like more police, we need more police. And then like a decade later, oh no, that's just wrong. That's status quo thinking. So what, you were status quo thinking 11 years ago? Like, I don't understand it. It just the hypocrisy, man. It is maddening, like, for real, man. Just all of this, like, when it comes down to facts, conspiracy theories, whatever, it's so frustrating to deal with all of this, because it's like all I'm doing is search for the truth, man. And I just get called crazy for it. And I don't understand how I can get called crazy for this stuff when it's like all I'm doing is pointing out the truth. And I'm gonna keep screaming and fighting for it, because it's like, I'm just trying to talk about the truth. That's it. And like, I know I'm kind of getting off on a little tangent here, but it's like, there's one of my buddies, man, who works at a hospital. And when this whole COVID stuff happened, I forget exactly where I heard it from, but I heard that hospitals were getting more money for COVID deaths. And I looked it up, and it looked to be 100% true. Well, me and him got into this big debate about it, and he's like, "There's no way that can happen. There's no way that that's happening. I work at a hospital. We're not seeing any extra additional funding and all that." And I just kept saying, I'm like, just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. It is happening. This was, a handful of months ago. And then just like a week ago or so, a week and a half ago now, the CDC director came out and said that, yes, hospitals get, and this was at a hearing too, on video, not just written like this. I heard it from his mouth, saying that, yes, hospitals get more incentives, and we've seen it with the HIV epidemic in the past. So basically saying, like, this is nothing new. This has been done. Yes, hospitals get incentives, and it's like, I was right a handful of months ago, and then he's still arguing about it with me. He's like, "Nope, you're wrong." What if you're wrong? I'm like, I don't know how I can be wrong when the guy from the CDC straight up admits that it happens, and it's happened in the past. But yet I'm getting called crazy and like wrong, and like, I don't think people understand how much reading and stuff I do. It's like, I don't just find my information on YouTube. I will find articles. I will read a ton of information. I will, then I will go to interviews on YouTube, but it's like, I'm looking at interviews, not edited clips together. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. it's just really frustrating because all I'm doing is trying to navigate for the truth, and people just discount it every single time. And I find it disrespectful. I'm glad my therapist kind of said that that's what it was, because that is. It's like I'll do so much work and, research and looking into all that, like not one personal research, just research to gain knowledge for myself. Like I'm not out there studying shit, conducting studies. But I put so much work and effort into finding information and trying to take it in and learning about it, and to be like, oh no, you're wrong, just right out the gate without you doing any research on it yourself is just, it's maddening, it's frustrating, it's disrespectful, and like people act like I don't know their side of things. It's like I'm coming from both sides. Like I typically start on one side with the point of view, and like I say, I always hear it, like I'll always say this is kind of how it always works. Not necessarily that I have an opinion on something but I'll hear something that someone says, take hospitals are getting an incentive for COVID deaths. I'll hear that, not know anything about that. I was like, what? No way. There's no way that can be true. Like, nah. And then I'll start to look it up, start cross-referencing multiple articles, and then that's how I come up with my opinion. And, that's how I come up with the facts. So, I don't know, man. It's frustrating. It makes me mad. And it makes me sad, too. Because it's like, this type of things just always happens. It's like, I don't know. I don't know why I feel like I'm right all the time. Like, I know I'm not right all the time, but it's like, dude, when it comes to this type of stuff, I really try and be well informed because I am passionate about this stuff. Like, I've always been passionate about the truth and, having conversations and just wanting the truth, like I keep saying. That's all it really comes down to. So I'll argue for the truth no matter what, with who, no matter who. And it's hurt me in the past, it always hurts me because it's like I'll push people away with how I think and how I kind of go about things. But, that's what it is, I guess. So what else do we have here? I know we're going to get into this snap. Okay, so then we'll get into this quote, kind of where this whole narrative of Kamala Harris calling Joe Biden a racist. From my understanding, that's what people are saying she said, and I can't find that quote. So it's like, I'm not going to say that she said that. I will give this quote that she did say during like the first Democratic primary debates, where I think that kind of narrative stems from. But again, like people are saying, oh yeah, Kamala Harris calls Joe Biden a racist, and then he appoints her VP candidate or whatever. But it's like, I could not find the quote of her saying Joe Biden is a racist. So, like, I'm going to point that. I'm going to be clear with that. Like, I couldn't find that quote. So, it's like, let's not be spreading that information. You know what I mean? But I think this narrative of where that comes and stems from this quote that I'm going to read in just a second. Let's get into this, though. Cheers. All right. So, like I said, this was from like the first Democratic primary debate. She said, quote, it was hurtful to hear you talk about the reputations of two United States senators who built their reputations and career on the segregation of race in this country, Harris said. And it was not only that, but you also worked with them to oppose busing. That is the federal efforts to integrate schools by using black students into largely white districts. Like I said, this was said during the first Democratic primary debate. So I wonder if she was alluding to Robert Byrd and that quote with him working with two United States senators who built their reputation and career on the segregation of race. Um, I wonder if that's who she was talking about or alluding to. I don't know. But, I think that's where that whole racism narrative or Kamala Harris thinks Joe Biden is a racist stems from, is just this quote right here. Like I said, I couldn't find an exact quote. Like a lot of these headlines are saying Kamala Harris calls Joe Biden a racist. Like, I couldn't find that. Like, that feels like it's all clickbait. That's like some shit that people are saying that Trump said when they say Trump said all Mexicans are rapists and murderers and all this stuff. Is like, nah, he didn't say that. That almost feels like what is happening here, where it's like, I read many headlines this morning that said Kamala Harris calls Joe Biden a racist. And it's like, I tried looking for that quote. Not there. I couldn't find it anyway. If somebody has it, please send it my way so I can see it. But in my opinion, in my information, like that quote was not said. This was kind of, I believe, what it was alluding to and why they would make that connection. And yeah, man, I just think this whole partnership is just really interesting because neither one of these people, from what I stated, where Kamala Harris kind of stood when she was kind of coming up, her beliefs when she was coming up in I believe San Francisco area, she was really against or she more for stricter police, not wanting cannabis to be legalized or that reformed. The 3-strike rule, like, so she's been very tough. Like, that's where her values were when she was coming up, and it was really harmful for the black and minority community, right? And we also know that Joe Biden has had, been called into question with his past, especially dealing with the 1994 crime law passed by Congress and signed by President Bill Clinton, which was meant to reverse decades of rising crime, but was one of the key contributors to mass incarceration in the 1900s. They say it led to more prison sentences, more prison cells, and more aggressive policing, especially hurting black and brown Americans. And if you ask Joe Biden, he says that's not true at all. The law, he argued, a recent campaign stop had little impact on the incarceration, which largely happened at the state level. As recently as 2016, Biden defended the law, arguing it would, quote, restored American cities, unquote, following an era of high crime and violence. Let's keep reading what this says. It says the 1994 crime law was certainly meant to increase incarceration in an attempt to crack down on crime, but its implementations doesn't appear to have done much in that area. And while the law had many provisions that are now considered highly controversial, some portions, including the Violence Against Women's Act and the assault weapons ban, are fairly popular among Democrats. So, this is interesting because he put in a bill or helped create a bill that was designed to crack down on crime by having more prisoners. Like, that's crazy, man. Like, this is just so frustrating, man. And it's like, yeah, like they said, some things have changed within that bill. I'm assuming, like, things are not the same. And of course, Violence Against Women's Act, that sounds like it would be a positive thing. I don't know much about that. But then the assault weapons ban, get the fuck out of here with that, man. Like, come on, you cannot be coming after our Second Amendment, man. No way. No way. Um, yeah, so that's what I'm saying. They're trying to like criminalize people by going after their Second Amendment and just personal freedoms and rights. It's crazy, man. It really is. It really, really is. So yeah, just when you look at all of this, both of their history, let's look at this. It was just 10 years ago when Biden was praising KKK member and Democratic Senator Robert Byrd as a quote mentor and quote friend. Um, I think so. Then it says the Trump campaign is serving up the reminder, where he said, "quote To me, for a lot of us, he was a mentor and a friend, and for a lot of us, he was a guide." Biden said at Byrd's funeral. Robert Byrd was of West Virginia, served in the United States Congress from 1952 to 2010, making him one of the longest serving U.S. senators in American history. Prior to his political career, Byrd was a high-ranking member, I believe Grand Wizard, of the Ku Klux Klan, the KKK, during the early 1940s. And this is who Biden was praising, and I believe who Kamala Harris was kind of saying, like, you've been close with someone who's made their name off of segregation. So I believe that's who she's talking about. And just to see this whole, connection is, and then with the history of what they've done to the communities and the incarceration and all of that, it's scary, man. Like that seems very scary. And then when you see what Trump has done for the black and minority community prior to COVID, um, record low uh unemployment rates, like more black people and minority, just overall in general, like there was more jobs ever. People were not on unemployment at a record rate, and the economy was just doing really well on average. I think the average household had an additional like $3,000 or something like that under these last handful of years. So when you look at all of that and then compare it with what Biden and Kamala Harris has done already, and this is just Trump's first time being involved in politics like this. But they have history, Biden and Harris, and you could look at their history and see what they've done, and then now you can see what Trump's done. I don't understand how the black community doesn't see this, man. It's crazy. And then they'll kind of like just demonize and vilify Candace Owens. It's like, I don't understand it, man. I don't, agree with her on everything. I don't watch her all the time, but when I do, she's like very intelligent. She's very well spoken and has a powerful voice, man. Like I think her voice is going to be very powerful within the next decade, man. Be on the lookout for her as being a predominant political figure. Like I would not be surprised. I think she's already doing the groundwork and getting her name out there and aligning herself with who she needs to align with. And yeah, like I said, I don't agree with her on everything or anything like that, but to see the hate and the, vilification of her is just, I don't understand it. It's like, and especially coming from black people, I thought like, I don't get it. I really don't get it. But, it's all hypocrisy. It's all so many hypocritical people out there. Like I said, I'm probably one of them. I'm not gonna deny that. Like we all have hypocritical moments, but like I said, I try and do my best to be real, to be honest and true with things, and that's that's me though. That's what I kind of stand for. So that was kind of all I had on, that subject. And I got the shirt on. I got the Padres shirt on. So we'll take this snap and then get into a little Padres talk. Because last night was a very pivotal game. But first, we will take this snap. Gotta grind this up first. Then we'll talk a little bit of Padres. Yeah, man, I just think there was a lot of interesting stuff with the history between Biden and Kamala Harris, and just being the fact that they're kind of partnering up now, and a lot of people think that Kamala Harris would be president. Actually, a lot of people don't think Biden's gonna make it, so be a nice torch to pass to her. Should I say tiki torch to pass to her? Damn, I don't know, man. Robert Burr would be proud of Biden if he did that. Or would he be proud of him for doing that right now? Whoo, it's crazy when you look at it, man. It's crazy when you look at the facts. When you look at the truth of things, man, it's crazy. It's crazy. And then people are just gonna still blindly just support Biden because of their hate for Trump, even though Biden goes around sniffing little kids' hair and little girls' hair all the time. Like, it's crazy. And who Biden has been linked with, like I said, the KKK leader and what he's done to the community, but they're still just gonna vote for him because anything is better than Trump. Oh my god. I think I didn't see the clip yet. I haven't seen the video, but I believe Tim Pool now has come out and like fully supporting Trump from my understanding. That's crazy, man, because just like a year and a half, 2 years ago, he was very vocal about being more progressive or more liberal, more on the left, but definitely not like mainstream view left. But he definitely was aligning with that and was very vocal about his history and all of that. So it's like, it's kind of crazy to see him come around just from watching the mainstream narrative and how they're not being true at all. It has really, I think, affected his opinion on things and has changed his narrative and his mind on things. Really interesting. I'm gonna have to go check that out and see, because I just saw someone on Twitter just say, did Tim Pool just go full Trump support or something like that? I was like, oh man, I gotta find that. That'll be interesting. All right, everybody, let's get into this. Cheers. All right, so like I said, last night was a big pivotal game for the Padres. They ended up taking the first game from the Dodgers the night before, which was pretty exciting. I think it was like 2-0 or something like it. It was pretty low scoring, but then like I said, this whole series is very pivotal for the Padres, the National League West, just all teams involved. Well, the whole, I don't know about the Giants and the Diamondbacks right now. They're struggling, but the Rockies, the Dodgers, and the Padres are all right there. I should say the Rockies, the Padres, and then the Dodgers. The Padres ended up winning yesterday as well. Manny Machado stepped up to the plate with the bases loaded and the game tied in the top of the third inning before his go-ahead grand slam that gave them the win in LA against the Dodgers. It ended 6-2. Both teams are now 11-7, and another game this evening, I believe. Same start time at 6:40 p.m. So big games for the Padres right there. Big pivotal moment for Manny Machado coming in clutch with the bases loaded, hitting the grand slam. That was awesome and exciting to see. They are playing hard. They're playing with heart. They're not giving up, and the Padres are just kind of doing their thing right now. And like I said, they have a lot of talent, but it's always tough. Tonight is a pivotal night, and it's like if they can get this one, then they're going for the sweep. And if you drop that one, then it's like, okay, you're still hanging right there, but at least you proved that you're not just being rolled over by the Dodgers. I think the tides are starting to shift. I think, Dodgers can discount it all they want, but there's definitely a rivalry there between the Padres and the Dodgers, 100%. And it's basically been a one-sided rivalry where the Padres are trying to catch up to the Dodgers, but it feels like finally the tides are shifting and they're not going to take their shit anymore. And it's like, I feel like the Padres have been like little bro to the Dodgers for a long time. And I feel like little bro's kind of growing up now and about to be smacking around big bro. So it'll be interesting to see. Especially with this shortened season and everything. We'll kind of changes the whole strategy of everything, man. It really does. It'll be really, man. And what are we? We're close to 20 games. 11-7. So yeah, close to 20 games. I think tonight will be like the 20th game, 19th, 20th game, something like that, somewhere around there. So 40 more games to go. Crazy. It's flying by. And I know the Padres have like another week or so, 8-9 days or so before they even have another day off, something like that. They had like 17 games in a row, like with no days off. And I know it's been like maybe 4 or 5. So they might even have like 9-10 more days to go before they even have a day off. So it's a grind. But they're doing really well, and it's exciting to watch. Even the ones that they've lost, they've been competitive usually, and it's been exciting to see. And yesterday the Padres acquired first baseman Yonder Alonso in a trade, more of like an acquisition with the Atlanta Braves yesterday, Tuesday. And Yonder Alonso is the brother-in-law of Padres third baseman Manny Machado. And he returns to San Diego, where he played from 2012 to 2015. It's also the city where Machado and Alonso's sister make their off-season home. So that's awesome, man. Everybody in the family reunion. Machado and his wife, who is Yonder Alonso's sister. This is where they live in the off season. That's awesome. So they're like hometown people now. That's really cool. That's really cool, man. Like he's like really integrating himself into the community. That's awesome. I wonder where he lives. Who knows, but it's pretty awesome. I didn't even realize that. That's really cool. I feel like that shows he's committed. And plus, like, how can you beat San Diego? I mean, you can with taxes and all of that. You can go other places, but just it's so beautiful here, man. And that's why I feel I can never leave. Like, I go so back and forth with it, but it's like, I don't feel I could ever leave California, man. I don't know. I just love it here, especially like San Diego area. But that's just me. So yeah, family reunion happening here with the Padres. Yonder Alonso. That's an interesting thing. Is it to just get another bat? Is it just supplement the first baseman of Eric Hosmer? We have, what are they gonna do? What are they gonna do? I was not impressed by Profar's defense last night in left field. He kind of had a couple of mishaps, but he made up with it with a home run or something like that, from what I remember, and maybe another hit. So that was fine. But and they ended up winning, you know what I mean? So it worked itself out, but I was not okay with his left field defense, man. That was a struggle. That was a struggle. But hey, they got it done, and Yonder Alonso's coming back. What's the so it's This is the National League West rankings. It's Rockies at 12-5, Padres and the Dodgers at 11-7, the Giants at 8-11, and the Diamondbacks at 7-11. So it's a tight race. Everybody's kind of right there. Even the Diamondbacks, it's not that far away. All it takes is a good winning streak and other teams losing one or two here or there. I don't wish that for the Padres. I want the Padres to be number one. I want them to overtake the Rockies, just create this massive lead, but being realistic, they're probably going to kind of stay where they're at, hanging around that 2-3 right there. We'll see though, man. The Padres are exciting. They have a really fun team, that is for sure. So, gotta rep the Padres. They came through in a pivotal game last night. Got the win. Another game this evening against the Dodgers again. Not sure who the pitcher is. I think they've been, I don't know. They've been trying to mix it up, I think. I feel like they're still trying to figure out their core 5 starters, or what they're going to do with that core 5, or how they're going to operate 1 through 5 or whatever, whether it's having a top 4 and then a bullpen game like they did, or get an additional arm in there. I don't know, but that's all. It's exciting every time. The lineup has been somewhat consistent, but also little changes and tweaks every single day, it seems like. So I like seeing that from the manager. Like, I don't like just throwing the same lineup up every single time. Like, I like some consistency, but like I like moving people around, piecing them together where they could fit, utilizing the pitching matchups, and all of that. Like, I like all of that. So, but then you have like the little mishaps with Profar in left field, you know what I mean? Like, that type of stuff happens as well, and luckily this last game it didn't do any damage for the Padres, and they ended up winning 6-2, like I said. But Padres, man, go Padres. Let's get into this last nap, and then I will get on out of here. Cheers. All right, everybody. Thank you for stopping by, tuning in, and checking out the channel. Again, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. I will be back on Friday. Check out Cult of Gaming tomorrow. I will try to be streaming that on YouTube. Until next time, everybody. Peace.